InShalla and Ashe. Got a little started late a little today, but welcome. I am holistic Sha'Medium and subtle energetic surgeon Tonya D. And welcome to September 1st, 2021, as we are in the tides of the fall. It's the harvest of the season of Virgo. So you kind of want to ask yourself, what's on your integrity docket, or what action are you taking to flow in your river, your conscious stream? If you're new to my venue, please subscribe and ring the bell, and for sure hit that like button because it assists in the algorithm out into the echo of the airwaves, I guess is kind of where I was going with that. But my musing meditation, it's ready for this new moon in Virgo. For your private listening, actually. You should see that in your inbox if you have subscribed. And also, next week, I'm going to be on Walk the Talk. And I would say that this is like a dream reality show. It's authentically finding your prime directive, your purpose in this timeline or this lifetime. So it's really time to travel down like a new action path, the actions we take or the actions we don't take. And we're just kind of refining them in the moment of who we are and also how we are perceived by others. I wrote a book a few years ago called Changing Faces. It was really curious what insight or, the messages that people got out of it. I noticed it was part of their own personal story or where they are now, or a path in which they had coursed themselves and hopefully they healed from or nurtured themselves. You can also find that in my corridor as you browse the venue if you feel curious and are called to. It's club.tonyad.tv. But if you're ready to upcycle your being into a new chapter, shifting your gears, today's actually a powerful day for manifestation, to shift that gear, to change. And also, it's a shift of leaving anything that's outdated in any path or direction or narrative, your attitude that you might tell yourself. It's really time for a new upcycled you. The energy of the day, or I should say the elemental energy, we have this young Ren Daymaster with a rat on the branch, a yin water rat. Rats are creativity. They're kind of on the front lines. They're quick thinking. They're nocturnal. If the word rat feels kind of nasty to you, you could actually use the word mouse or maybe a hamster, things like that. But when I think of the rat in Charlotte's Web, Templeton, that's kind of what I think of when I even see the word rat, right? Is Templeton. Curious and always, kind of the instigator to get things done. So we still have a month of fire with the monkey, yang energy. And of course, the year, we're not going to shift until February 1st of 2022. What year am I in, right? That's going to be the water tiger. So I'm kind of excited about that. Maybe I get a new tiger for myself. Just kidding. Just musing along. But, in looking at the energy of today, we have plenty of water. We have metal to nurture that water, creating condensation. But our Daymaster really needs the elemental energy of nature to transform, taking those flowing ideas from the day-to-day, writing it in a journal. That's an action of wood energy. If you can't go out in nature and meditate with a tree, listen to the sounds of nature, the crickets. I listen to them every night. At the hour of the dragon, I don't really talk about the hour stem, but we have a water trinity at the hour of the dragon with the rat and the monkey. So that brings in more influence of this element of water. So it's getting in the flow, water flows, water moves, but it can also be stagnant. But we have a yang and we have a yin water, so it's balanced water, really. So water's the northern direction. It's our kidney, it's our bladder. It's really not the ancestral realm, but it's an ancestral influence with water within our bones. In the Chinese methodology, the cosmology, it's ruled by the planet Mercury. So it's like a great day to get in the flow of communication, and with our words, putting them to the word, where you can take your goals and put them into an action, writing them down. If you felt a little anxious, maybe, you're behind schedule. I know I was by an hour or so. But It's kind of what came up. It wasn't that I was anxious. I was just moving slow, I guess. Where we, inside you have this inner drive to take an action, and just knowing that your life is actually ready to change the condition that's the creation of your reality before doing any rituals or any prescriptions. It would actually be a great idea to ground. I know I talk about the element of the day. I talk about the elemental realm, though, and like Love the Skin You're In or Secrets of the Other World. And of course, in Change Your Stars, I actually go deeper. But we all have a unique character, flavor, and ingredient in our personal cosmic soup bowl. What you find yourself grounding into is actually unique to you and your character, your essence and behaviors and whatnot, your ingredients, right? Our personal kind of driving force. And once you discover the element of your innate nature, you can actually take that energy and create an activity that really forces us to become our personal alert signal of the present moment and the now. So anything that gets your fire going, your heart system, your circulation, things like exercise, even meditation, a walk that's fast paced in a park, is actually going to unite the essence of all your attributes, like the body, the mind, and the spirit. And I really honestly like to throw in the soul as well, because the soul really has a narrative too. Sometimes it's our blind spot in a way, but it's time to get to the starting line, or maybe you're ending a race that's no longer serving you. And it's like it's ending and starting a new gate, shifting the direction in who you are at the current thread in the moment. But in order to get to this place, you can no longer take time to like graze in the field in front of the TV watching Netflix, and to really stop a habit. So you have to kind of shift who you have come to be at this moment in your day to day compared to, the experience of a year ago. A lot of people found a lot of time sitting in front of the couch, I'd say, or YouTube. But it's time to get off the couch, right? And also another thing, it's an amazing day to initiate a shift in a behavior or a condition for that matter. So that's an ingredient taking you to being someone else. So for an idea, myself, I've been cleaning out things that I no longer use, getting more organized. So I'm no longer using this bike rack that I have, a mountain bike rack. I'm really not a biker. It was for mountain biking. I've had it for years. I used it probably one summer, but I'm letting that go so I can bring in what I do want to do when it comes to exercise or movement or whatever. So just being at the starting gate, a change in life is going to make it easier to sail your ship actually out into the future. Or you could also kind of be at the gate with a new behavior, an attitude of changing inside of yourself, or you stop complaining, talking negative self-talk, right? Where you start to be more loving. You have a loving voice inside of you, where you stop sabotaging, whatever it is. So you can be authentically in alignment with whom you are being. That one thing, just shifting your inner voice changes your day-to-day reality. It's actually one of the single most insightful things to change that you could actually make today. You kind of want to hold it, give it time and space, say it every hour on the hour, give it a mantra if you want. Just kind of make an intention to be something else or be somebody else. Upcycling your nurturing system in the process by moving forward with what I would call your prime directive and start feeling higher. Begin a new ritual in responding to your inner narrative, your emotional field. Kind of like an accordion of sound into the channel of what your heart authentically feels, and more importantly, what your heart believes. And practice living in the light, nurturing yourself in that positive light, even in ways that you treat yourself or defend yourself. Just put into use a new ritual to create or change a behavior or a system that's holding you in the wrong space or in the wrong time. And again, follow what your heart channel believes in her core. Besides kickstarting your heart, a little motley crew there, change what's inside of you that needs tending in your garden. Virgo is body, it's health, and it's service. So those are kind of the aspects where this is kind of coming online. Who you are being, be kind. Of all the things to be kind, not just to yourself, but also radiate kindness outside of you, out to the world. The planet is actually active. If you are in a negative space, you're actually going to also attract other people that are in that narrative as well. So it's easy to disrupt our force. It's really a challenge to not, project our entanglements, our issues and whatnot onto somebody else. So really ground and hold space. If you remain centered, if you have a focal point on yourself first, then you kind of can attract the villagers that are mindful and actually supportive in your container, your community. The moon itself is actually in Cancer today. So this is actually, it creates our feelings. She's in her home sign. Our feelings are going to be hypersensitive though. So you might even be triggered emotionally. It's really a great idea, if that happens for you, to take a breath and take a pause before you instigate a word or respond and say something that you really don't mean to say, and channel in that energy to actually transform yourself. Then it sheds light into those areas of your life. So if you have a project, that's been sitting on the fence, it's time to start it going, get it in the gears. Clean something if you feel called to, because the universe, the galactic universe, is in support of this change, of this transformation. Like, find your peace, be in reflection, have some inner serenity, patience, a slow, steady progress, baby steps. If you feel overwhelmed by situations or people beyond your control, take a dip, smile, take a breath. So with all these energies, our root channel is actually online, our physical empathy state, our ability to manifest, bringing things down and through the crown, through our intuition, our galactic core center, and through our body, and really land them to manifest in the realm of the earth. Do rooted things like grounding, like moving, any kind of action, wear red if need be, eat an apple, the forbidden fruit, just kidding. Stuff like that, red. That's why fast food places have a lot of red, because it stimulates salvation, right? Eating, satiation, whatever. Not that I eat fast food. An archangel to call in today. I should probably start taking pictures of angels, but it's Ariel, the Lioness of God, the angel of earth and also of the water, the spirits of the water, and maybe the spirits of the earth too, the beings of the water. He actually assists in shifting our nutrition quotient to be more conscious of eating organic. In our environment as well, where our earth needs more love, more nurturing. I have a big fence in my backyard, I don't know what you'd call it. It's a big fence. But I have some fern gully action going at it again. So I ponder if these forces of adversity, which man calls growth, ever really tunes in and offers or even asks, for that measure, if it's okay to really tear at the flesh of the earth, tearing down the trees for the breaking ground of another high-rise condo in the concrete jungle, because, that's going to actually nurture us more. But the struggle appears pretty real. They keep pouring money into these things, and for me, it's like going down the rabbit hole. Our wealth is really in our health. So you kind of have to come from a place of childlike wonder and find the feeling of joy, the delight, and the pleasure. So this angelic being in itself, its essence is delightfulness. Speaks through our heart center, so you could actually tune in or ground into your heart as well today. The channel, right? It stirs up our passion, especially in response to matters of the environment. That's why I call that the Fern Gully story. But this archangel actually works closely with Raphael in healing both our environment and nature and also animals. So if you have pets that need assistance in healing, you can call in him as well. Or for your own health, call in Ariel. The seed sound of the day, I would, with the energy of wood, like shh yourself, like you're shushing, like a fairy child or just a child. Shhhhing. I prefer the sound of nature, the crickets. When they're singing, they actually elevate the sound frequency, so I feel like I'm floating. Um, the seed sound of our root center to bring your manifestations online, the action of it. And the body is actually pain. It's this alert signal for our root center, the physical empathetic realm. But the seed sound is loom, or it's the O in the word road, to be here, manifest, gravitate, pull in, things taking form. It's like from energy to matter. What's super fun for today, which is exciting. Can't believe this. It's always funny when you pull in the card and it totally appears with the day. I went with the elemental deck, but I also am going to pull up my fairy card since this angelic being kind of felt kind of fairy-like as well. But I pulled the fire spark card, and I love the symbolism on this, really. And like I said, you cannot make this shift up at all. So fire is the realm of action. It's Mars in the Chinese cosmology. It's the root center. So we learn to be dynamic. We learn to claim our personal power. It's allowing light to shine brighter. Feel the passion of light. It's also a great teacher in like the alchemy or the mysteries of transformation, like literally changing forms. Dying to be old, part of ourselves, and being born fresh, new. So it's like these two sides of the coin, where one side's dying, the old part is dying off, and we're being born new. But it's also, it can be a volatile realm, you know, how a fire rages out of control. And sometimes we express our fear of it getting out of control as well. And working with fire is a skill. If you've ever watched a metal worker create knives or a sword, you need a lot of focus. You need a lot of training. And kind of balance is definitely a key to working with and molding metals with fire. So it's really a great teacher, you know, to play with, and it's just this dynamic energy of life. It's powerful, it's passionate from our radiating the light in our core space. So when we honor fire and find ways to actually merge with the fire, and also the messages of those other realms in our everyday awareness or our ancestors. So it's this spark of energy that creates the moving of forward, the action that we take towards whatever it is we're creating. It kind of compels, you know, when you think about it naturally, it compels a seed to actually spring or birth to life, whether it's in the ground or, you know, being warmed up by the sun, or in the body, it's fueled by the fires of the passion. So it's this kind of initiator of growth. It's an activator of life force, energy, prana, chi, whatever you want to label it. But just like a seed in the soil, it takes the warmth of the sun to activate, or the spark to actually grow that moment, the spark. So our inner fire is actually activating the seeds of our inner desires. And this card ultimately, like, it really goes with the energy of today. When we are all fired up, you know, we get excited about accomplishing a goal, hitting the end zone, realizing, you know, a dream come manifest. We have this enormous joy and achievement start to occur with little or no effort on our part. It's pretty cool that I actually pulled this card today because it totally goes with the narrative, the energy of the day. And then for fun, I pulled this fun little guy. He is called the Master Maker. Look at him with that staff up there. So he's all about skill and craftsmanship. He's kind of like this magician in the other realm. I love my fairy deck, by the way. It's invention, it's moral strength, staying with your morals and being strength, you know, having a power to stay empowered in that. So he's the master of forging things, which I thought was curious, especially with fire and forging. Seriously, you cannot make this stuff up. This is where we create our futures and actually forge our own souls. That's kind of his story. And the 22 up there, which is a whole nother thing I could go into, but I won't. He sees the world beyond the other world. So he's kind of like a dimensional time traveler, the world of the first causes. Through his own magical realm, he's got his magic wand there, his staff. And he brings them actually into his own world of the realm of the fairies. From his world, these different concepts, he actually trickles down into our world. Trickle down. Through our dreams, our visions. They're picked up by artists, craftsmen, creativity everywhere. But he kind of sends the signal first, the beacon, the original. He's like this greater inventor. He's kind of like the sign above his door. He has a sign that says practical problems are solved here, which I like that because where I'm at, the police force, whatever you want to call that story. They always say solve the problem, but I think it's better to say be the solution because that's acting as if there's already a problem, right? So just be the solution. So this particular character, he's this master of fire and air and water and all of the elementals in earth. So he adds, the fairy element of our moonlight within everything he creates. That's what his little wand does. But what's more fun is he actually whistles while he works. So it kind of feels like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in a way. He creates like healing cups, magic swords, fairy jewels, crowns of stars. He's otherworldly, bejeweling, kind of spelling, even words. But he's like this fine crafter that creates through his forging, the hammer. Kind of reminds me of Thor in a way. I think there was a movie where a little being forged Thor's hammer. Yeah, I remember that because he lost it. But anyway, it's through this hammer that he brings ideas into our reality that anything can be done, but not just to do it, but do it well, do it authentically, perfect, strive for perfection. So this card is saying to do whatever you can, but also to do it as well as you can. And then also go ahead and make it even better each time. It's the good and the gooder. So that's what a master maker is. So he kind of reminds us that our very best work is always on the front line. It's desirable, it's wanted, it's passion. In the present situation, what's necessary, what's the ingredient for success. So he really asked us to be on our previous best, not to cut corners, don't take the easy route. Nothing's ever easy, right? If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So whether you're making a thing or fulfilling an idea, just make sure that your design is elegant, it's functional, it's pure, it's authentic, and then kind of follow it, kind of attending to every detail, but also recognize that you can work on something so much that it actually loses its form. You can overwork something. So you want to turn it into one of those things that are designed beyond your average skill line, and then actually raise it a level of your skill to keep on the thread, just staying in the authenticity of the best. Do it with love, of course, of your craft, whatever your craft or talent may be. Put your love story into it. So this card actually speaks of long-lasting achievement, creative problem solving, confident action. It might even suggest cooperation with other people, especially from a position of being a leader, being responsible, or even, teaching your own craft to other people, whatever that looks like, where your success comes from the application in practical forms of principles that are more traditional in our life and in our work. We all need a teacher to show us, and then we take what they've taught us to a whole nother higher level. I feel like getting back to our original blueprint, our roots, the organic you is actually being called in. What we do naturally without having to think about it or put much effort into it, it's our original blueprint. So it's time to take an action and to do things a little bit better. I really think this is a magical card as well. Taking what we already have on creating something better. Some affirmations or a question to actually ask yourself, is What is fire sparking in your life? That's kind of what fire does. It sparks. So it's a sign to, you know, pay attention to what the sparks are, those little intuitive hits. Another one is like I am shelving the old and the ingredient that goes with it. So it's like shelving the old ingredient and bringing in a new ingredient once that one's shelved. Things like I am being the best version of my being. So with all of that, thanks for tuning in. Sorry I was late. And as always, I will see you on the other side. Do that every time, don't I?